I'm Senator Daniel Zolnikov, and I represent the west part of the Billings Heights. So the current property tax system in Montana is a city or county has a budget. And every year that budget gets increased by half a rate of inflation and all the newly taxable. So if there's a new facility like a tank farm and it is taxed and it brings about $1 million worth of property taxes in, that gets added to the budget automatically. That's interesting about that is tank farms have very little impact. You don't need new hospitals, you don't need roads, you don't need fire and police, but this still gets added to the budget. So all this newly taxable ends up increasing the budget, and then the next year it's half a rate of inflation plus that newly taxable, and it just keeps increasing. This has been in place for about 20 years. My bill would lower the amount that the newly taxable goes in the budget. So, it would go into the budget, but the budget would not get increased by that amount. So let me give you an example. That tank farm comes in and it's $500,000 of newly taxable property taxes. The budget would only go up $250,000, and the other $250,000 would go to pay down everybody else's mills. So residential, commercial, everybody else. So that is incentive to bring in new growth to lower everybody's taxes over time. The other part is it increases the rate of inflation up to 1% from 100% inflation. So if it's 4% or 3%, then the county or city government would get that high amount of inflation. Right now it's half a rate of inflation, which in rural Montana, where there's not a lot of new development or growth, half a rate of inflation is just shrinking and crushing their local government. So at least keeping them whole with inflation would be extremely helpful. This is a long-term policy change, and that's one thing that you don't see a lot in government action is people want a quick fix to a long-term problem. Property taxes have been rising, home values have shot up astronomically, so people say we got to bring them back down. There are other solutions for the short term. The long term is we have to stop the compounding growth of our local governments increasing every single time. That adds up to a lot when your growth is 8%, and then next year 8% on the top of that, and same over time. The growth just continues to get higher and higher very fast, which becomes very unaffordable. This bill would cap the growth of these local governments at 4%, at least in its current form. And again, with the other adjustments, would incentivize new growth to lower everybody else's mills and would give the counties 100% inflation unless they hit that 4% cap. And then that would be as much as they can grow that year. This bill would be effective 2026, beginning of 2026. So again, does it solve where things are today? No, but over time, instead of growing at a very exponential level, it would be a more flat, even keel level. Property taxes are based on a very complicated formula where the budget is identified and then mills are found out after you find the valuation of each tax class, and the mills are what adjust. So the budget, if it is increasing so much with all the newly taxable, then your mills are likely to increase. So we have to fix the budget side, and people are looking at the mills and their valuation side. So when people say, well, no, I'm getting taxed more because my home's worth more, that's based on a variety of different calculations. That's where people, I think we're looking at the picture wrong. We have to look at the budget and how much it grows by, which will affect the mills and how the tax dollars, if newly taxable goes completely to new budgetary or only partial, so then it pays down mills. So it is not an easy topic. It's something that is not always fun to talk about because it's a complicated one, but I think we have a very good solution here that will work moving forward and stop the rampant increase of our taxes. This is a challenging task because, of course, we're changing the funding formula of local and county governments, but I think it needs to be done because because we'll see the positive impacts in the next few years, and that's how government should work. It's not easy to do what's right, but it is necessary.